SQL podcast called Rosenberg. Look at the superstars walking in right now. Wow. I got Nick. I got Gab. I got my boy Felix. I am so blessed. SQL podcast called Rosenberg. Let's just touch this really slow and hold it right there. One. Bong.
1, 2.
Yeah. I'm going to dig into these live. We're talking about former PCTI graduates who are now in their junior year of college. I'm going to slice their life up and get the wins and the losses. Parents, I'm sorry, I'm going in. Stay tuned. SQL podcast. Nikki, Gabi, Felix. 1. I'm going to rip this whole podcast up.
I'm excited. I should be scared, but I'm excited.
Let's see where it goes.
Right. Sorry, Mom. R.I.P. to everyone about to throw under the bus.
I'm taking all you with me.
Stop. So true. SQL podcast for Rosenberg rocking in. As I said tonight, you're in for such a delight. I had to crash that word treat because we already passed that 2 weeks ago. You're in for a delight tonight. SQL podcast. I'm here with a follow-up podcast. You know, they have the pop-up podcast that's coming up next for us. This is our follow-up podcast. I am delighted to have Nichole, Gabi, and my boy Felix back at the table to really capture. But you know, before I get ahead of myself, I want to bring things back and go back to the way I normally crack into the show. I want to, number one, today's significant. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later in the show, but I want to go back and pick up the entire crew that's here tonight, giving us their talent, their vision, and getting SQL podcast where it needs to be. So big round of applause to my boy Charles, director extraordinaire, making sure everything is good on the camera. Thank you so much, Manny, editor, senior editor for the podcast, making sure everything looks bueno. And of course, the executive cameraman running the whole thing, my boy Lou. Thank you so much for holding us down. I cannot forget music producer to the show that gives us a beautiful bed we walk into, A.T. Jones. Thank you so much, sir. Bong, bong, bong. That's the entire SQL podcast crew. And I tell you this, we haven't gotten this far without those people dedicating their time and effort. So I can never start the show without bigging the crew up. Tonight, I am honored. I got the crew in the house. What's up, fellas?
What's
Nothing
up?
much.
Hey,
Chilling,
hey.
chilling.
I said fellas, but you know, I need to cap. Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on?
Just chilling.
We back.
Yeah, we're
It's
back.
the first. Have you had a follow-up before?
Yes, we actually had a follow,
okay.
but your follow-up is a little bit more significant because when I caught you guys, you were wrapping up your last year of high school at
Yeah.
PCTI.
We were closing
Yep.
a whole book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jewel being dropped on SQL
The
podcast.
first.
Right out the bat, Gabi's coming. You know, but you're right. You know what we experienced in that podcast was you closing the chapter of high school,
Yeah.
and you guys did not know exactly what the next page in the new chapter was going to be.
Not at all.
Yeah.
You all were anticipating something. You all were looking forward to that next chapter. So let's do this real quickly. Let's go back and think about and talk about what we were thinking, what we were feeling about leaving high school, PCTI that is, which is right here in Wayne, and getting ready for that new chapter, which is all the colleges that you went to. So let me start with Nichole.
Yes. That's me.
What were you, if you could remember, because we're going
I
to flash back to
remember
it.
very vividly.
Talk to me.
So I felt like at my high school, I was just really closed off and limited. And the whole time I was there, I was like, I can't wait to graduate. I felt like this huge hand was holding me back, and I was trying to run forward, and I was being pulled back. And I felt like once I got out of college, I could finally run free, only to find out, you know, shortly down the road, there's a big, huge wall that I have to somehow get through. But I was just really excited, not in a way of like, finally I'm free, I have nothing to do. I was just eager to get to doing what I'm passionate about and like experiencing life. Because to me, college is more, it's less restricting than high school. So you're in there, you know, on your own kind of.
Which is interesting because you're talking now with a bifocal perspective
Yes.
because you're talking before you got into college and now you're about to do your junior year. Gabi,
Wow.
do you remember coming out of high school and the feelings getting ready to go into college?
Yes, I was a mix of emotions because I loved high school. I feel like
Can't
I
relate.
thrived. I'm sorry, Nichole. So I was really sad, kind of like nostalgic, still looking back at pictures of graduation. It still kind of gets me, bleed blue for life, Bulldogs forever. But
Big.
I am also very happy that that part of my life is done. So I move on to like bigger and better things. But at the moment, I was very scared because I'm like, oh my gosh, what's like, what comes after? It's a big question mark.
I appreciate that. And what's so funny, I'm glad you vocalized it because I remember graduating high school and I felt the same way. A little bit scared about the next chapter because it was unknown and giving up the comfortable, giving up the known. So thank you so much for being vulnerable with that. Felix.
I just want to say, after hearing you two, it felt like deja vu. It feels like I was just brought back 2 years ago.
We just
I
came out of
remember
school right now.
exactly how you felt, and I remember exactly how you felt. Two different perspectives. Mine was more neutral. It was bittersweet, but I was just ready to get started. I felt like once I was out of high school, no one can tell me nothing. I was gonna get started, and I was gonna do things, and yeah.
I like that. I like that. So what we're going to do today, and it's going to be a different kind of podcast because I want to look back at some of the old footage. I want to jerk your memory.
Oof.
Yeah. I want to jerk your memory a little bit and really dissect this. But before I do that, I got to big up my sponsor, which is Heineken. And of course, here on SQR Podcast, we drink responsibly. And that's why my guests, they are all enjoying the water right now, the Poland Spring. So let's toast to that. Bong, bong, bong.
To hydration.
Got it, yeah.
Yeah, being hydrated. And of course, enjoying the best beer ever brewed, Heineken. As we crack into your lives and, the little smidget of what you've gotten accomplished so far. Felix, I love the confidence in which you said you were ready.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. So now,
I was the opposite.
So I'm gonna do a quick thing here. Because I got you before graduation. The last podcast.
Was it before or was it
was
just
before.
after? It was?
Yeah.
It was just before.
Just
God.
before.
Literally like a
Just
month
before
before.
graduating PCTI, right?
Wow.
Felix, graduation day.
Oh.
Graduation day.
What was that like for you?
So I remember we're in the gym and everyone's just walking around, and then criminal justice shop, they were getting lit. They started dancing. I saw them from the distance. They started dancing, but really I was just taking everything in. I was just looking around. I wasn't taking any videos or anything. I was just really taking it in. This was going to be the last time that I was going to see a lot of these people, and some for the better, and some, it's like I said, it's kind of sad. But I remember we're getting ready to walk that line, and I just looked to the person next to me. I'm like, "Are you ready? Like, we're gonna do this, man. This is it." Throwing up our caps in the air, and then running to both Nichole and Gabi, taking that picture that I still have on my dresser.
Me too.
It was an amazing experience.
Was it anything less or more than what you anticipated? Just graduation that day.
No, I feel like it was, I don't know, it's weird. It's like those big moments in your life, you really expect so much out of it, and then sometimes it's just like, whoa, is this really it? And that's it. So I think I was just in a moment of awe. That was really what it is. I was taking it in, and I remember the next day waking up in the morning and I was like, I'm not in high school anymore. So I think that's when it hit me. The next day, that's when it really
I
hit me.
appreciate that. Gabs.
Graduation day. It was hot. Let me tell you.
Yeah, no, it was. It was.
Our friend George actually had the worst neck tan.
Oh,
Like he had a
man.
shirt on and like his neck was just like dark, and his body was white, like his back. It was wild. But graduation day, as Felix said, I was in criminal justice, so we were at the shop getting lit in the bleachers. We're like, hey, what's up? Graduation day, you know. But yeah, I was so excited to graduate, and I was also like very scared. Because I was like, this is it. Like, I'm going to step on the field for the last time, and it's done. So I'm sitting there throughout the whole graduation and listening to all these, like, people, all the speakers. I'm seeing everybody in the bleachers, and, like, seeing everybody in the bleachers, like your family, your friends, it's a really powerful moment. And, like, my friend Jaden's mom texted me to take pictures of Jaden. So, like, we're all we're all on the field. They're looking at us. But it was, like, the same thing, a mix of emotions. It was a big roller coaster. And then at the end, I remember just ugly crying. And this one guy was like, Gabi, stop crying. You look so ugly. And I was like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So Gab, the next time you find somebody who's a pretty cry, let me know.
Yeah.
Nobody does that.
I'm still trying to find one. Trust
Nick,
me.
talk to me about graduation day.
It was neutral for me. Going in though, I was emotional because at home, my hair wasn't working out, so I was like crying on the way, parking, and then I got in, and then I see so many people, and it's just overwhelming. That's what I would describe it, because you see it's like happy and excited but sad, and so I felt a whirlwind of emotions. I was crying at first, but then once I settled in, I got excited, and I come from a background of Jamaican and Eritrean, so everybody posted up. Literally hyped me up when I was graduating, and I actually like strutted.
Oh, she did.
Down at like the what is it called?
The walkway.
The walkway.
Yeah.
And
it was your runway.
She got her diploma.
Thank you.
No, that was big. And what's so funny is, guys, I remembered the podcast we had. I remembered the anticipation of graduation. I remembered what you were talking about, looking forward to college. Now we're here.
Dun, dun, dun.
And we are about to enter junior year.
Mm-hmm.
Your second year of college. So before I take this quick break, I want Nichole, which college did you end up going to?
Marymount Manhattan.
Okay, Gabi.
Montclair State University, Red Hot Gang.
Felix.
Rutgers University.
Bomb. 3 different colleges. Still remain good friends, best friends.
Best friends, yes.
Still connected.
Don't get it twisted.
SQL podcast called Rosenberg. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to look at some old footage with these knuckleheads and jog their memory of what we did and how we cracked it up. Wow. Stay tuned. Gabi, Felix, Nikki, 1.
This should be interesting.
Welcome to the place when you want a good time. Just for fun and the place when joke on your mind. And just for fun and we don't want to see it done. Just for fun, laugh till you drop down. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Welcome to the place when you want.
My boy A.T. Jones on the keyless rolling. Just banging this out. SQL podcast for Rosenberg, cracking into the second slice of this enormous pie that we're getting served today. I got Gabi. I got Nick. I got
my guests to really,
And the interesting thing about it is, I told everybody we're gonna look at some old footage of our first podcast when you guys were here. Attire wasn't right.
Nope.
Hair was crazy.
Yep.
I got you right at that moment. So why don't we do this? Let's look at some old footage, jog that memory before we move forward. Go.
I'm going to ask you to, starting from my far left, which would be Nichole. I just want you to just give me a brief, your name, your school you go to, your grade, and that's it. Before we jump into the meat of stuff. Go.
Okay, well, I'm Nichole. I'm a senior in high school. I
Big
look
up to PCTI.
I look like I just graduated middle school.
Bulldogs.
I remember that sweater. I lost it.
Okay. I'm Gabi. I also go to PCTI, and I'm a senior.
Gabi, look
Nice.
Yeah, wow.
I still
My
look
name is
12.
Felix. I go to PCTI as well, and I am a senior.
Nice. So we have all seniors
Wow.
here from PCTI,
Yep.
which is right in Wayne, which is right next door to Patterson here, which is where we're broadcasting from. So, and as I said before, it's a unique time because you guys are about to graduate. This is your last year of high school. So I'm going to start with Felix. Before I even get to the last year and the sentiments that you're feeling now, now that you're here, real briefly, what does it feel like?
That's wild. Well, I tend to look back at my freshman year, and it feels like it's been like centuries since I've been there. And just, I remember my first day walking in, we had to go to our shop, and I was the first one there. I was early, and I was waiting for people to come in. And as soon as the first,
Yo, can you pause that? Can you pause that real quickly? Because
So-
guess what? As I'm watching Felix, and I'm thinking about the questions that were asked for that.
overall, it's been an amazing experience for me.
Not even aged.
Yeah.
What's going on with
I
that?
just graduated previous to
He's like Keanu Reeves.
Felix and I like to joke that we're secretly like from a Brazilian tribe.
yeah.
So I call him my brother, which is Irmão,
Irmão,
and he calls me Irmã, which is
Yeah.
in Portuguese.
and sister.
So I think it's our ancestors who have kept
Yeah.
us so young for so long.
I think that's
No,
what it is.
because you haven't aged, and that podcast was done like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And as you're navigating, so before I even go back and look at, dissect Gabi's footage and Nichole's footage, I want to stick something with you real quickly. Now that we're having this bird's eye view moment on the podcast and on your last year of high school, now that you're in college and in your about to do your junior year, which is your second year, was the first year of college anything like you anticipated?
Kind of. In the sense that I knew that I was going to go in there with the discipline to make sure that I got the grades that I needed to get, and I was going to be on top of my stuff, which I did. So I'm proud of that I did that, and it was a great first semester because I was on the soccer team for Rutgers, and we won the NJ, and I got a beautiful ring.
Bong.
Yeah, I got a beautiful ring, and it was amazing. I met great people, but overall, yeah, I think it went the way I wanted it to go.
Because what we're going to do is I want to just dissect the first year. You know what I mean? Just that first year. And as you were talking, and I remembered, so let's just slow this down. You get to Rutgers. You walk into that campus. Now you realize you're going to Rutgers. What was that feeling like?
I felt like I was starting.
Feeling. What was mom's and dad feeling like?
My mom was texting me throughout the whole day.
Yeah.
Saying that I eat my lunch, stuff like that.
Just mom things.
Just mom things. My father he asked about practice. He said, make sure not to be late to practice. And that was really that. Like I said, I didn't have like this, oh my God, I'm in college. I really had just this one mindset that I'm here and I'm going to do what I have to do. And that's that. And that's what I did. But now, I'll talk about it later more. I've been getting involved in things, and it's been an amazing experience.
If you can leave me with one anecdote, good or bad, in that you got from your first year, what would that be?
Procrastination can kill you.
I was gonna say kills you.
Jewel. What a jewel, my youth. Yo, when you say something profound, you know the routine on this podcast.
Yeah.
When you say something profound, not only we have to toast. I'm gonna lift up my Heineken, which is our major sponsor here.
We're gonna hydrate again.
Yeah, we're gonna stay hydrated.
Yeah, stay hydrated. But procrastination will kill you, and you realize that. Boom. All right, so let's do this. Let's go back to the footage, and I think I went from Felix to Gabi, right? And catch up on exactly what Gabi says. I'm going to ask you the same questions.
Okay.
Let's go. Gabi,
Yes. Oh, freshman year. I love freshman year.
what was that like?
My shop class, we were like my little clique. We were like the rowdy ones in class.
Right.
Everybody else hated us.
What
but
shop was that?
Criminal justice.
Okay.
Yeah. So freshman year, I loved it. Sophomore year was
still
also
sound like a
like
man.
one of my better years.
No, you don't.
Junior year, junior year,
We are
I struggled.
Yo, let's take a picture. Let's pause that. Yeah. So as we're looking back, Gabi,
That's a great place.
Yeah. What was that? What was that comment?
I said I still sound like a man.
No, never that. Never
Yeah,
that.
I know.
So we spoke about your shop. So let's put you in the same position I just put Felix in.
Okay.
Montclair State.
Yes.
Your first day going to college, pulling up to that campus. What was that like for you?
Not good. So
You got a ticket?
no, I didn't. Thank God. But off the bat, it was a rainy day. It was humid. My hair was a mess.
Oh, of course.
Try to put some makeup on, it smeared everywhere. So I was ready. I was not having it. And then somebody, when I was leaving campus, actually, like the classes were fine, whatever. But as soon as I was leaving, I made a wrong turn somewhere. Somebody beeped at me and got mad, and I was just really not feeling it.
So your first day of college was like a complete meltdown.
It was a complete meltdown. It was so I came home, I was like, I hate college. I hate it already. I'm like, I'm not doing this. I want to go back to high school. Like, I was against college. You don't have no idea. My first year was not good to me. Well, my first semester, at least, I actually went in as an athletic training major, only to transition into communications and media arts. So I came in based on what my parents wanted me to do instead of what I wanted to do. So it was a very complicated time where I was like, do I feed into what my parents want me to do to make them proud, or should I do something that I want to do and make something out of myself and still make them proud? So it was a big struggle, but I'm happy I made the switch. All I gotta say, I did the switch September of my freshman year. My spring semester of my freshman year. So the second half of my first year in college was better than the first.
All right, so as we get ready to wrap on this segment, your takeaway, and I love the fact that it wasn't a bed of roses for you. You know, because I want our viewers to be able to tap into that. So
There's a bunch of thorns.
I think going throughout this podcast, whoever's watching will learn that.
okay, so before I slice into your reaction, Gabi, your takeaway for that first year of college would be?
Just keep swimming. I'm gonna quote Dory on this. You gotta keep going. You gotta push through it. You gotta go through that thorn bush. Now I'm in a bed of roses.
That's it.
SQL podcast for Rosenberg. What a jewel. We're going to take a quick break, come back, run Nichole's footage, and get her perspective on her first year of college. Stay tuned. I got Nikki, I got Gabi, I got my boy Felix. SQL podcast for Rosenberg. 1.
Yeah, yo, first semester was not good.
Guys, that's fun.
So this is Don Reed, coming straight to you from Jamaica, Claremont St. to be exact. Now I'm a banker by profession, a bank manager, but I'm also a reggae stroke dancehall artist who take real life situations and blend it with comedy and put it on the genre that we also love and adore, which is reggae stroke dancehall. I'm also a comedian, I'm a blogger, and I also write. So I'm live at the studios of SQR podcast, and stay tuned, you're going to be in for a treat. Don Reed. Upments.
Love when this guy gets on that keyless roller.
It's dope.
Yeah, my boy A.T. Jones.
What instrument is that?
It's called the keyless rolling. Which means you got to be A.T. Jones to play that thing. SQR podcast for Rosenberg.
Look at his face. He's like,
Cracking it with my boy A.T. Jones on the keyless roller and creating the right atmosphere audibly as we slice through these different pies that we have at the table. I'm catching up with Felix, Gabi, and Nichole, former PCTI students who are now in their second year of college, the junior year of college. The past 2 segments, we looked back at some footage. We did Felix.
Yeah.
He dropped a great jewel. We did Gabi. Dropped another jewel. And now we're about to crack into Nichole. Let's take a look at Nichole's pre-piece that we did a couple of years ago. Go in.
The same question that was posed to Felix and Gabi is now posed to you.
Okay, their high school's experience were way different from mine because your girl was struggling. Like, freshman year I came in and I had the same mentality, like, all my friends I'm going to stay with through middle school. Yeah. We're going to be besties, What else walking is new? through hallways, owning it.
Yeah.
But all that changed when you have this school with 4,000 students.
Right.
New people every corner that you turn. And I started in business like Felix did, but I later changed to Academy of Finance. And I think I wouldn't have wanted to go to a different school like my public school because I wouldn't have been able to develop into the person that I am right now. I noticed that because our school is so diverse. It's 4,000 students from different towns in the county. It's not just from one town.
Right. Which is a great mix.
Yeah. And
Can I stick a
even
pen
though
right there? Can you pause that right there? Because you ended up going to school in Manhattan.
Yes. So I went from 4,000 to 8 million. Literally.
Yeah. So talk about embracing that whole, change. Your first day at Marymount, what was that like?
I realized I made a mistake. No, it was really, and I think all of us are like this academically. We're really, determined and we know we can, accomplish many things. But I was more excited about being in New York City because the possibilities are endless. I'm still to this day so grateful that as I go to college in New York because the amount of experiences I've been able to have would not have happened if I went, to some school in the Midwest or something like that.
Correct.
Especially because I study fashion. It's like where I need to be. And so that's what that's my most profound thing. It was being in New York City.
What was the acclimation? Because you came from Jersey, things are a little bit more quiet. I mean, we're just a bridge away. There's a river that separates us from.
But there's a river. There's a difference. I had culture shock for sure because I had an expectation. I've been to New York a bunch of times. I had an expectation of what my life there was going to be like, what my school was going to be like, who the people I would be interacting with would be like. But that was the problem. I had expectations and I should have just come in, open-minded. But I met a very diverse group of people. I mean that positively and negatively. But overall, I'd say it was a learning experience.
Is there, looking back at that year, and everybody answered the same was posed the same question. Looking back within that year, is there a pivotal moment or a pivotal thing that you learned about yourself during that first year?
I learned how strong I am. Mentally, physically, just overall, spiritually, I learned how strong of an individual I am and how much I'm capable of doing.
Boom.
How many things.
You know what's so funny? All your answers have been jewels. Every answer from the thorn, from, knowing, every conclusion to your first year have been jewels. And I want to thank you guys for doing that. Before I move on from this segment of this podcast, one last look back. Is there a teacher in PCTI that you can now look back as you're about to go into your junior year of college that you were like, damn, that teacher really said the right thing or jacked me up the right way? And I'll start with Gab.
Okay. Yes, I'm going to go with my man, Mr. Ritchie, David Ritchie. Yes, big ups to Mr. Ritchie.
Big up Mr. Ritchie.
He was my junior year English teacher.
In high school?
In high school, yes. And he just told us all his stories about him, kind of fooling around in class, whatnot. But with the way he taught and the works that we read, like he actually, there was actually a book, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and it actually inspired me to start picking up books again. So I asked him, I was like, is there anything that you recommend? And he gave me a whole list of books, movies, TV shows, everything. And he just started doing that with every year to his classes. So I guess we both started a movement type of thing. But he's definitely one that where I think I learned the most, writing and just having fun.
Felix.
Honestly, I can't really think of one besides my coach. He was a teacher, but I never had him as one. So he was just mainly my coach.
He was good as a teacher.
He was a funny guy.
What's his name?
Mr. Fody,
Hey,
or Coach Fody.
Yeah,
Coach
come
Fody.
on. Give him the props. Yeah.
Yes,
Big
Mark Fody.
props, Coach Fody.
Yeah, but other than that, no, I was very chill with all my teachers, to be honest with you. I talked to them with respect, and I just really got to know them.
So there isn't one teacher that you were like, yo, that's the guy, or she's a person that really, said something iconic, or,
I had my shop. I guess she's the one that got me really into the major that I'm in now. I do owe her a lot because...
Can we put a name to her?
Yes, Miss Easton, who is now retired. My apologies.
Yes, big up to Miss Easton.
Miss Easton, she's now retired. Yep. We were the first logistics class, and she really held that dear to her heart, and I was one of her favorites,
Bomb. Nick.
So.
You never did your notebooks. I don't know how you did that.
So similarly to Felix, I kind of was a teacher's pet because as I explained, I struggled, with communicating with people my age. So I found I connected more with teachers, and I'm shocker, I actually like learning. So I would always, like, after school, for example, my French teacher, Mr. Resky, and Madame, shout out to you guys, I would stay after school to work on my French more, but I also was developing like a relationship with these people. So definitely my French teachers, the AOF, that whole department, they're really great in, incubating us and like taking care of us. But 3 stick out. So Miss Krieger, who's my guidance counselor, I was in there at multiple times a week. She was just always there for me to talk about things, and I feel like in a sense I was there for her because a lot of students don't go to guidance counselors, and she'll just be there all day.
Yeah.
And I think it meant a lot to her that me and other students in the AOF department would like show up and like care, because we really did care for her.
Nice.
Also my environmental science teacher, Mr. Petroselli, because he is partially the reason why I study sustainability right now.
Wow, that's big.
Because he showed me this, just learning about the environment and the things that we're doing to it, and he showed me this documentary which is called Racing Extinction. I recommend everyone watch it.
Racing.
Yes, Extinction.
Okay.
And the last one is my freshman year teacher. His name is Mr. Woods, and unfortunately he passed away while I was in school, but he was just such a light, and it hurts like to talk about it, but he meant so much to all of us, and I actually left with a scholarship from under his name, and him just harboring him him believing in me spiritually even means so much, and I know that he believed in me throughout the whole high school and
so why don't we do
college.
this? Why don't you take the caps off, because we're going to drink to this one. Take the caps off to Poland Springs. I'm going to lift my Heineken, and we're going to do a toast to teachers.
Yes.
As we close out on this third segment, to all the teachers that impacted your lives.
Teachers.
To all the teachers.
Cheers.
SQR Podcast, Will Rosenberg. Phenomenal podcast. We're going to take a quick break, come back, and this fourth segment is where I go deep. I get all the secrets, all the mess up,
Let me get ready.
everything that's been happening as we get ready to wrap up on this podcast. Gabi, Nick, Felix, former PCTI students who are now going to share their junior year experience with us. Stay tuned. One. SQR Podcast, Will Rosenberg right here, live and in full color. My man, Don Reed. How you doing, bro?
Hey, I'm doing great. It's a real pleasure to be here at SQR Studios in New Jersey.
He's up next on the podcast. Don, tell him the accolades real quickly.
Okay, so I'm a Jamaican first and foremost.
Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, Claremont St. Anne to be exact. Big up. Also, I'm a banker by profession, a bank manager. With since 16 years old, over 20 odd years now. I'm also an reggae stroke dancehall artist. I take real life situation and blend it with comedy and put it on the genre that we also love as Jamaicans, which is reggae stroke dancehall.
So yo, tonight we're gonna dissect his story, and on top of that, he's performing at the end of this podcast. So guess what? Don't move. Don Reed up next. SQR Podcast 1. SQR Podcast, Will Rosenberg, as we crack into this last segment. And I got to tell you guys, it's been so interesting hearing the recap from high school, the teachers that made an impact, your first impression walking into college.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about you finished your first year of college, and this is about to be your second year of
No,
college.
this is our third year.
Third.
Yes.
We finished 2 years.
Yeah.
I stand
wild.
corrected.
Yep.
Wow. Times fly fast when you're having fun.
And other
mean,
things. Fun and other things.
Yeah. So
It's a struggle.
Let's talk about the other things. I'm gonna start with Gab, because it seems like you were running for cover when I said I'm gonna slice through the first 2 years of college. So I want to do this with you, Gabi. So first day was hectic.
First day was hectic.
You finally got your ground, and you decided that you want to do something that would not only make you happy, but make your parents happy. Mm-hmm. And I was very impressed by that, because a lot of kids tend to want to stick and let me make mom and dad happy. But if you're not happy, mom and dad's not going to be happy.
Right.
You change your major to?
Communications and media arts.
Now you're doing that. What's the first year, now that you're settled in? What's your description, if you were to describe that first year?
The first year was a lot finding myself. I'm gonna be really vulnerable right now.
Please, go in.
Yeah, so my mental state was not in the best area that it's been. It was actually like on a decline, graduating high school. So got some like help professionally and whatnot. So
let me be serious here, because there's a young lady your age who's listening to this podcast right now saying, "What do you mean my mental health was in the right state?" Go back a little bit and be more detailed.
Okay. So this might be a little hard for me to say, but anyway, so it's the depression and anxiety kicked in really hard, and I didn't know what it was. So like for months I would just kind of in denial, like, no, I can't be depressed. And everybody around me is like, no, you can't be depressed. You're young. You're full of life. You just graduated high school. You're in college. Go out, live life. But that's not the case. You can't just be like, oh yeah, I'm just happy today. Like, let's just go out and the sun's shining. No, that's not how it is. So
you dealt with depression and anxiety.
Yeah, still am. But sorry, go ahead.
No, go.
So yeah, it was more of me pushing it down to the point when I would just have these mental attacks and break down crying like multiple times a day. My mom, like I'll come down to my mom trying to find like solace with her, but she'd be like, why are you crying? I'm like, I don't know. So I'm coming to you. Like, I don't know. And so it got to the point where we were like, you know what, let's just go seek professional help. So I sought out some psychiatrists and therapists. So they put me on some medication. And here I am today. We're winding down a med, so we're making progress.
Wow.
Making progress.
Yeah, huge. And I salute you for being so vulnerable. And, a lot of young people are dealing, because when I grew up in Jamaica, I mean, I'm from another country, so it's a different person. But growing up, I had less stimuli, significant stimuli, but less of this digital stimuli that you guys are subjected to.
Yeah, of course.
I can only understand. I can even empathize with what you're dealing with, but I appreciate the fact that you went to seek help. Mom got you help. Is there anything that you can remember? For, let's say somebody's watching this who can't afford to go get help. Is there anything that you can remember, one thing or a bunch of things that the licensed professional said to you that helped you get back on track?
I would go with this triangle theory. So my therapist said pretty much, you have a thought, right? And it turns into an action and it turns into a behavior. So instead of, for example, you have a hard class, so you think, oh, this class is so hard, I'm never gonna pass it. So your action is to not even study. That becomes a behavior and you fail. So I thought, yeah.
Jewel.
So it was.
My boy AT said something, not something, but AT expounded on that. And I'm sure if he wasn't, running around right now behind the scenes, he would tell you that your thoughts, your feelings, your thoughts control your feelings. Your feelings control your action, and your action control your results. Which is exactly what the therapist was telling you.
Yeah, so she just pretty much said to flip it into something positive. So instead of the class being so hard, I'm more motivated to get a better grade because I know it's challenging, you know what I'm saying? And it becomes, instead of failing, you study. You gotta keep going with it. Can I add one more thing?
Please.
Okay, so yeah, you said you grew up in Jamaica, and there obviously is a lot of stimuli, which is probably why everybody, young kids, younger and younger, are getting depressed and have a bunch of anxiety because it's all these stereotypes and how social media is a big problem. It's great and it's bad, and also my parents are also born in another country, so whenever I would open up in the beginning, they'd be like, mental health, I don't know what that is. Just suck it up. You gotta go to school today. You're not mental day. I don't know what that is.
If they can't see it, it's not there.
Yeah. So
that's so true.
When I first got on the medication, I felt really kind of disheartened, weak, because I'm I need help. You know what I'm saying? And that was very negatively based in my house, I guess. Getting
from a house of immigrants. Yeah, we do look at that. Yeah.
So they're you're going. My dad goes, oh, you're going to a shrink now. He's like, you really need a shrink now? And I didn't tell him about it for a while, but then I opened up to him. He understood. But at the same time, he's still a little iffy about it. But I mean, it's hard because that's what he grew up in.
Yeah,
so.
We're learning as parents. Wow, Gabi, round of applause for being so vulnerable.
Thank you.
I want to change this to Dr. Phil and Gab show as we go in. But, Squirrel Rosenberg here, SQR Podcast. And, this is what we thrive on getting. Because there's a young girl going through the same exact ride of emotions right now. And parents of my generation who have the same crazy outlook, not realizing that, guys, you're up against. So thank you so much.
Yes.
Felix.
Yes. Hi.
First year of college.
Okay. First year of college was it was a roller coaster because although my fall semester was a great experience, shortly after I decided to stop playing college and I wanted to pursue something, really get more into my academics and more involved around campus, joining clubs and things of that nature. But then in March, after our season and everything, I kept in contact with some of the guys, and I found out some news that 3 of my teammates had gotten into a car accident in Delaware, and one of them had passed away. So that really opened and I was at practice at the time, and another kid that I was playing with had told me, because he played for MSU, and he had heard it in a group chat. So hearing that, I had called my coach right away just to confirm because I couldn't believe it. And he told me, and I just left practice that day. I think it really opened my eyes because that's the first time in my life that I experienced a death of someone that's relatively the same. No, he was the same age as I was. Usually growing up, you hear of deaths of older aunts and uncles. And although it's sad, you don't necessarily have that strong emotion to it. But this one really opened my eyes because I was like, that could have been me. And in November, I had actually gotten into a car accident as well. And the officer had told me that based off the way that everything was calculated, 2 seconds earlier, if the car had hit me from the side, I could have either passed away or I would have been seriously injured. And I didn't think of that. My parents had always told me, it's like, just think of the bigger picture. You could have passed away, things of that nature. But I just was really sad. I fell into a really dark place, and I just felt really bad having to put that extra stress and strain on my family. And I felt like a failure, to be honest with you. And then when that happened in March, I wanted to kick myself, because that could have been me. He doesn't have that chance to feel sad. His life is done. That's it. You know, it's a close on the chapter. But it really opened my eyes. It taught me a lot, and it gave me a lot of strength to move forward. So my following year, I came back stronger than ever. And my father has always told me, no matter what you do, always give 110%, no matter what it is. Always do it. And my father, he came to this country and he started working at Wendy's, and he became regional manager. And from there, he moved on to have his own travel agency and so forth. So I joined the club, and I gave myself the goal that from this time next year, I'm going to be the president of this club. And
so you're talking about from your first year in?
No, so now it's my second year, so fall semester actually. So first year, it wrapped up after the death of my teammate, and
then you joined that club.
Yeah, in the fall semester.
What was that club?
APICS, American Production and Inventory Control Society. It's really an organization for supply chain professionals in the industry to better educate themselves and network, and really just reap the benefits that come from being with such a national organization. And then I joined it actually, and I started working, and I put in my work, and now I'm going to be the president of the club coming in this semester.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm so impressed, because everybody think, and we talked about this on the first segment, where you go into college and it's just this bed of roses. You say you were dragged through the thorns.
I was
yeah, which is what you said. And then to hear Felix, explain that there was also a trying moment through his experience. However, you picked up your boots, gave yourself a goal, and now you're about to be the president of this prestigious club that you joined.
Yes.
Thank you for coming out of your show.
No, of course. Thank you for having
me. That's so big.
You wanted all the secrets. You got
no, that's big.
Ironically, we're all on the exec board of a club.
Yeah.
I'm the vice
at our
president.
School. Yeah, and I'm going to be. I was vice president. I'm going to be the president of a club.
I didn't hear that.
I'm sitting in the presence of future leaders here. Tell me about your experience.
First year, it was really new, and I'll speak on this with Gabi, because anxiety, kids go through anxiety at such a young age. Some of them are born into it, depending on their background. But for us, fortunately, we had really fun lives as children. But so we both experienced anxiety, all this new emotion during college, which is freaky, obviously. And so it was crazy to be adjusting, and I resonate with Gabi in having mental breakdowns, and I not knowing what was going on.
Right.
And I'm with my roommates, and I'm like, what's happening? And they have been struggling with this their whole life, and they're like, girl, it's just an anxiety attack. You're fine. They were so casual about it. I'm like, does this happen all the time? And they're like, for the most part, yeah. And I'm like, this is crazy. And to me, I'm very fortunate to have experienced it when I did then, because I realized that this is not me, and so I'm making an effort to change it. Whereas people who grow up with it, they don't know, they think, that it is a part of them, and so it's harder for them to change.
You're talking about your parents here. That's how we think, we come from a different mentality. So I'm sorry for
But I mean, no, really, shout out to you and Mom, because you guys were so open, you know what I mean, and willing to understand where I'm coming from. You guys always are understanding of where me and my sister Naomi are coming from. So if it wasn't for that, I don't know where I would be. I wouldn't, I come to you for everything. Yeah. So it's being able to have you and Mom there, even when you didn't want to listen because I was just complaining about something, it meant a lot.
It's so funny. So there's people listening to this podcast go, what do you mean by you? And so Nichole's my daughter, just to let everybody know out there. So I try my best to keep it so incognito, but thank you for
sorry, we need to get personal.
Personal. So as we get ready to wrap up your second year in college.
Yes,
right?
You got it right.
Yes, sir.
Don't screw this up. You're wrapping up your second year at college. I would like to know, and let me make sure I pose this question the right way. You have tasted a bit of what this is all about. What are you anticipating? What are you looking forward to for the next year? All right, I'm going to start with Felix.
First year, I guess more on
Your next year.
I guess on a micro level, really just bringing this club to the next level. Our goal is to become first tier. There's 4 tiers, 4 being the least, and then 1 being the top one. And my goal is to be number 1 because I have all the resources and I have a great team, and there's no reason why we shouldn't get there.
Love that confidence.
But
Gab.
In the next year, I want to confidently say I grew into myself and professionally got into the music world. That's what I want to do in the next year.
Nick.
Spiritually, I'd say I want to become as close to the best version of myself as possible, which I do that by knowing that I am already that now, and then anything I learn, you have to, how else, first step to growing and becoming the best version of yourself is already believing that you are that, and you are complete, and so everything else that comes in is just an addition.
Bomb. As we get ready to wrap on this 4th segment and the last segment, the question I ask my guests, and I usually give my guests, which is usually one person, 2 wishes. Right? You get a magic wand. I just gave you the magic wand. You got 2 wishes. But right now, my genie's kind of on strike, so I'm going to give each of you one wish. All right? I give you the magic wand, Felix. One wish.
To allow everything to keep happening, because I've really come to understand that everything happens for a reason. So just to continue following the path that I have, and with strength and guidance and love from everyone around me, I'll see it through.
Wow. Gab, I just gave you the magic wand. One wish. And don't say 10 more wishes. Go.
One wish is to move my parents into a lake house.
You know what? I like that. I like the fact that you paused and you thought about it. Mm-hmm. And your one wish is to move your parents into a lake house.
Yeah, because they've done so much for me. I'm just like one little thing that I can do and make their life different.
I appreciate that. Nick? And I'll take the lake house, but go ahead.
I don't mean to sound all pageant-y, but I'd say I wish that my one wish would be that everyone would be self-aware, like everyone, because then we wouldn't. The reason why we aren't progressing as a society is because we are dealing with so much as individuals that we refuse to look at each other as a whole to get things done.
We forget that we're on the same path.
So if we all can just accept ourselves for who we are without comparing and acknowledging that we are an individual being and put all that extra BS aside, we can actually get stuff done.
SQL Podcast, Squirrel Rosenberg. It has been an honor to be sitting at this table, catch up with 3 of my most fascinating guests. Why? When you got here, when we did a podcast, you guys were all focused, driven, and dedicated. And at the end of this podcast, what I got from all of you is you went into college, you bumped your head, you knocked your toe, you said ouch, you sought help, and now you're back on track. SQL Podcast, Squirrel Rosenberg, Gabi, Nikki, Felix, thank you so much for cracking in and catching us up. Please go.
Okay, I just want to say I am so proud of your evolution.
Yeah.
And thank you for having us again even allow us to be here in our little Oval Office that we are in right now. But you've come so far, and with everything that you guys done, I'm super proud of you.
No, thank you for that. And you know what? Since Gabi draw that handbrake up, I got to big this up because today we got the call, and as of today, Heineken has jumped on board 150%. So thank you so much. Our sponsor is like, we love what you're doing. We love the story that you're telling. And this is what we do. We capture great conversations over great Heinekens. And if you're not at the age to drink, we have water for you. And if you don't drink, we have the 0.0 alcoholic, non-alcoholic beer that Heineken just came up with. One thing we do here in the SQR podcast, we drink responsibly, and there's no drinking and driving. Stay tuned. We're going to wrap up with the crew here. And I'm going to have you guys give us some anecdotes as we close out, all right? SQR Podcast, Squirrel Rosenberg. 1. Good, Holland, pull up. That was big.
Got
That
you.
was big. What's your name?
My name is Gabi Bartnik.
What school do you attend?
I attend Montclair State University.
What do you see in your future?
In my future, I see myself breaking out into the music world. I'm going to speak it into existence
And either vocally, production, whatever you got chopping up in the studio. And Vic Mensa, I'm coming for you. We're about to be best friends.
What's your name?
My name is Felix Melo.
What school do you attend?
I attend Rutgers University.
What do you see in your future?
In my future, I see no limitations. The sky is the limit. I will be an entrepreneur. I will invest in real estate. I will create nonprofit organizations to help people around the world that can't help themselves. And most importantly, I'm gonna live a happy life.
What's your name?
My name is Nichole Lawrence.
What school do you attend?
I study at Marymount Manhattan College.
What do you see in your future?
My future is my present, where I am a representation for brown girls all around the world, and I am a leader in the sustainable industry for fashion.
Welcome to the place when you want a good time. Just for fun at the place when joke on your mind. And just for fun and we don't want to see you done. Just for fun, nothing to drop down. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe.